Hello, year six. So now we are going to start answering the worksheets related to the lesson flowering plants. So we are going to go through the model answers of the worksheets of the flowering plants. So please grab your resource pack and start answering it with me. Of course, this is the fourth, we're done with it. We are going now to start with the flowering plant lesson. So what are the pages that we are going to solve together? A lot of pages, as you can see, but I promise they're all very easy. So we're going to start page 34 until we reach page 51. So you have to go with it, through it with me. Please open your resource pack and let's start. So let's start with page 34. In page 34, question number 1 says, complete the other 3 labels on the diagram. So they gave us one label, which is this one, stamen produces pollen. And there are 3 others. One has the name of the part of the flower and they want us to write its use, and the other is the uses of 2 other parts and they want us to write the name of the part. So let's start here, the petal, and we know that the petal use is that it's colored and scented in order to attract insects for the pollination process. Here we have something which collects the pollen, and we know that it's the stigma, and the stigma is the first part of the female organ in the flower, and we know that it most of the times it's sticky so that it collects, or the pollens will stick to it. And the last part, this one, which protects the bud, and we know that it's the green small leaf under the flower, and it's called the sepal. Question B says, how are these seeds designed to be dispersed? So in the first picture, picture A, you will find that those seeds have spines coming out of it. So that would be a perfect type of seed to be dispersed through the fur of the animals. So the hair and the fur of the animals, this kind of seed gets stuck to it, and then it will be transferred from one place to another. So this one, it sticks to the fur or hair of animals. Question B says, picture B, you have this kind of seed which has 2 wings, and this one acts like a helicopter. So yes, this one will be transferred by wind. Now let's go to page 35. And page 35, question number 2, it says, put the steps of the plant life cycle in order, use the letters. So you don't have to write the words as I did. You can only write the letters that is written near to the words. I myself did a very interesting way, or answered this question in an interesting way. I did it backwards. I didn't do it forward. I did it backwards. So how is that? Here, as you can see, the last step, or the step that they wrote, is the growth step. So let's go back. Okay, let's go back. Before growth, what happens to the seed before it reaches an adult plant? It starts to germinate. So you have a seed and you planted it, you put it in a soil, and you provided all the necessary properties, or the necessary things that the seed need to start to grow. So this is what germination is. So before growth, which is when the plant reaches the adult level, there is germination, which is the start of a new plant. Before germination, of course, there's seed dispersal. Before germination, the seed should be dispersed. So this will be the previous one. Before the seed dispersal, pollination will occur so that the seed is formed. And before the pollination, there is flowering, and the flowering is very important so that the pollination and the reproduction of the plants occur. So let's do it now forward. If we're going to start with growth, after growth, the adult plant will start to produce flowers. And when this happens, the pollination will occur. And then after the pollination, Of course, the seed will be formed, and after the seed is formed, the seed will be dispersed, and then it will germinate, and so on. Now let's go to page 36. In page 36, we have a graph. Question 3 says, Carrie collects data on flowers in her garden. The chart shows what she finds. Okay, so in the chart, if you open page 36, you find that in the chart, we have, of course, the x-axis and the y-axis. In the x-axis, which is this one, you have the different types or the different ways the pollination occurs. This first one was water pollinated, wind pollinated. The second one is insect. The second one is insect pollinated, and the third one is bird pollinated. And in the y-axis, we are talking about the number of plants. So we want to know how many plants were pollinated by those ways, whether by wind or by insects or by birds. Okay, so now the first question says, how many plants are wind pollinated? So what will you go? You will go to the bar that says wind pollinated under it, and you will see where did it stop. So apparently it stopped between 6 and 8. So this means that it pollinated about 7 plants. Question B says there were 11 insect pollinated plants. So they gave us this piece of information and they want us to represent it on the chart. So what will you do? You will make a bar which goes up to between 10 and 12, which is 11. Between 10 and 12 is 11, and you will make a bar and you will color it with or fill it with the pencil. Okay. Question C says, how many plants did Carrie's investigate all together? So what are we going to do? We will check each one of those bars, their length, or how many are pollinated using each of those have been pollinated, and then we're going to add them together. What does that mean? I will look first at the wind pollinated plants. How many wind pollinated plants? We figured that it's about 7. And we know that there are 11 insect pollinated plants. And then there is the bird pollinated. It's about between, no, it's not between, it's on 4, right? So yes, it's on 4. So we have 4 bird pollinated plants. So we're going to add each one of those. You're going to write here 7, here 11, and here 4. The total number will be 22. You're going to add all of those numbers, 7 plus 11 plus 4. The total will be 22. So she investigated 22 plants. Page 37, it was a homework for you guys. Question number 4 says, Sam wants to find out more about germination times of different seeds. So this is the test. He wants to know if he tried to plant different seeds, will their germination time be different? Okay, and most probably it is different. Most probably it will be different, but this is not the point. The point is that Sam is testing different types of seeds to find out whether they are they take the same amount of time to start germinate or no. Okay, so what is the question that he is investigating? Do different seeds have different germination time? As simple as this. And as I told you before in the first trimester, before we started the exam, in the revision, I told you that you can get all the answers of all the questions from the statement above, from the question itself. So right here, he wants to find out more about germination times of different seeds. So apparently this is the question. Will different seeds have different germination time? This is the question. The second question, question B, says, what variable will she change? Oh, she's a she. So Sam is a she. Okay, she's a girl. What variable will she change? Okay, now we know that she is using different seeds. So from, again, the statement or the question itself, you can find out the answer. So she's going to change the type of seed. Question C says, give two variables Sam should keep the same to make her test fair. Give two variables Sam should keep the same to make her test fair. Now, she could use the same type of soil, of course, and she could water all the seeds with the same amount of water. This is number two. If you have any other suggestion, you're more than welcome to tell me, guys. But those are the two that I figured out. If you have any other answers, you can discuss it with me. Okay, question D says, what variable will she measure or count in her test? So she is counting the time taken by each of those seeds to start germination or to start to germinate. How or what will be the measure she is going to use? She's going to measure this by years, by meters, by days, by liters, or kilograms. Of course, germination most of the time takes only days in order to start. So of course, she is going to measure it using days. Question F says, explain why she uses 10 of each different flower seed, of course, to make her test fair. Now let's open together page 38. In page 38, we also have a question that is related to a specific test. So the question says, Ella puts a plant inside a dark cupboard. She waters it each day. A plant. They did not say a seed. She put a grown plant. Okay, so Ella puts a plant inside a dark cupboard. She waters it each day. What will happen to the plant over the first week? So the plant is not exposed to sunlight, and sunlight is a very important part of the photosynthesis process. In fact, without sunlight, the plant will start to wither. So this is what will happen. It will turn yellow or wither, and this is because it needs sun to make the photosynthesis process. Question B says, give two jobs the plant roots do. So we know that the roots have actually two jobs. The first one is that it anchors or fixes the plant to the soil. And number two, it absorbs the water and nutrients from the soil. Okay. Question C says, where does a plant make its food? We know that the food factory are the leaves. Question D says, name two things a plant uses to make its food or to make the photosynthesis process. Of course, the carbon dioxide, the sunlight, you can put water, you can put nutrients, whatever you want, just write. I chose the two main things. Question E is, animals eat plants. Give one other way that animals use plants. Some small animals use, of course, the plants as a habitat. Like, for example, if we're talking about trees, you have squirrels and you have raccoons in specific areas like the tropical rainforest. The orangutan, for example, lives on trees. So some of the animals use those plants as habitats. And if we're going to talk about smaller plants, like you have aphids, for example, or caterpillars, they live on leaves. So other thing than eating the plant is using it as their own home. Question F says, give one way in which plants need animals. So how do plants need animals? So we're talking about the other way around. Of course, animals are a very vital part of the pollination and the seed dispersal process. Okay, so as I told you, the seeds could be sticking to the fur or the hair of the animal, and then it will be dispersed from one place to another. Another way is when the animals eat the fruit and then they defecate anywhere, so the seeds will be dispersed too. Now let's open page 39. In page 39, we also have an experiment, and in this experiment, we want to know that whether different fertilizers will affect the plant growth or not. So in the first one, we were talking about different seeds and their germination time. Here, we are talking about different types of fertilizers. So the question will be, does fertilizer affect the plant growth? So if I have soil without fertilizer and I'm planting plants in it, and another soil which contains a fertilizer, and we want to know whether it's going to make a difference in the growth, the rate of the growth of the plant. Question B says, what will they need to use? So you're just going to summarize what they will use. Of course, they will use potteries, the pots for the plants. They will need soil. They will need the fertilizer. They will need different seeds or different plants. Question C says, what variable do they need to change in their test? The addition of a fertilizer, which means it's not the type of a fertilizer. I want to know whether the fertilizer really affects the growth or not. So we're going to use one pot only containing only soil, and another pot we are going to add fertilizer to it. So the addition of the fertilizer is the variable that she's going to change. Question D says, name 3 things they need to keep the same to help make their test fair. So they have to use the same type of plant to avoid the confusion, whether this is because the time of germination is different or because the plant is actually growing due to the fertilizer. So we're going to use the same type of plant. Number 2 is that we are going to use the same amount of soil in both of them, and we're going to use the same amount of water. Of course, another thing that you could do is that you put both pots in the same spot with the same amount of sunlight reaching both of them. So this is another thing you could add. Question E says, what will they measure each day? What will they measure each day? They're going to measure the length of the plant, of course, and how can they do this? This is the next question. Using a ruler. You're just going to see the length of the plant each day using a ruler. Okay, you can use a measuring tape too. Question G says, why would they use more than one plant in each condition? So, of course, it's to make their test fair. And how could they present the results? Again, by making a table or a graph. Now let's do page 40. In page 40, question number 3 says, the thick woody stem of a tree is called the trunk. This part is called the trunk. Now the question says, give one function of the trunk of the tree. The trunk of the tree is an exaggerated or an amplified stem of a plant. So the plant, of course, the tree started as a small plant, and this trunk was actually a stem at the beginning of its growth. So it will work similarly as the stem. So what is the job or what is the function or use of trunk? It takes the water from the roots to the rest of the tree parts. Question B says, trees make food for growth. What part of the tree makes the food for growth? Of course, again, it is the leaves. Question C says, trees do not grow quickly during the winter. One reason trees do not grow quickly in the winter is because it's cold. Give a different reason to explain why trees do not grow quickly in the winter. Of course, this is the perfect time to talk about this part. You can notice very well that we have been through a bunch of cloudy days, and of course the clouds will prevent the sunlight from getting to the plants. And in the winter in general, the sunlight is fainter or much weaker than in the summer or in the spring. So because of weak sunlight and the cloudy days, and of course another thing is that the day is short. It's not like the summer when the day is long and the night is short. No, here in the winter, it's the other way around. The day is short and the night is long. So this is another reason why the tree or the plants will not grow quickly. Page 41 is an identification key. It says class 6 collects leaves that have fallen from some trees. Now we have two leaves right there, and we want to know their names. And we have here a bunch of keys that will help us identify the leaves. So number 1 says leaf has a smooth edge. So I'm going to start by this leaf. I will look at the leaf and say, does it have a smooth edge? No, it actually have a jagged edge. As you can see, it's not smooth. So we will look at the other statement. It says leaf has a bumpy or jagged edge. Yes, it does. So I'm going to go to question number 3 or statements number 3. So I'm going to skip and reach number 3. It says leaf is heart-shaped. I don't see a heart here anyway. Leaf is not heart-shaped. Yes, it's not heart-shaped. So I'm going to go to number 4. Leaf is round. Is it round? No, it's not round. Leaf is not round. So it will be the Norway maple. Okay, so this is the Norway maple. The other leaf, let's go and see, look at the other, take a look at the other leaf. Does it have a smooth edge? Yes, actually it has a smooth edge, as you can see. So I'm going to go to number 2. Number 2 says leaf is a long and thin. Long and thin, it means this way. So of course, no, it's not long and thin. Leaf is not long and thin. So this means that this is what they call alder buckthorn. Alder buckthorn. Okay. Now let's go to page 42. Page 42, question 4 says, some children set up an investigation as shown below. What did they do? They split part of a plant in half. So they got a plant, a flower, and the flower is white, and down its stem, they split it into 2 parts. And then they placed those 2 parts, one in a blue dye mixture and the other in water, plain water, okay? After some time, half of the flower turns blue. What part of the plant did the dye travel through to get to the flower? So we know that the roots they absorb the water, and then they deliver this to the stem. So of course the stem is the part responsible for taking the water and distributing it throughout the whole plant. So of course the dye traveled through the stem to reach the flower. Okay. Question C says, for which life process is the flower important to the plant? Of course, we know it's the reproduction process. Question D says, draw 3 lines to match each part of the flower to its function. So we have those 3 flower parts, stamen, ovary, and stigma, and we're going to match them to their function. So the stamen, which is the which is the male part of the flower, it produces the pollen. And the ovary, which is part of the female flower, female part of the flower, it has, or the seeds are made inside it, and the ovary then will turn into a fruit. And the last thing is the stigma. It's where the pollen are collected or pollen collects here. Now let's do page 43. In page 43, we are also going to match the whole thing. Question 5 says, different parts of a tree have different functions. Draw 3 lines below to match each part of the tree to its function. So here we have the leaf, the trunk, and the root. The leaf, of course, is it uses the water when making food. The trunk carries water from one part to another, and the root takes in water. Okay. Question B says germination, pollination, fertilization, and seed dispersal are all stages in the life cycle of plants. Draw 3 lines below to join each stage in the life cycle of the correct picture. One has been done for you. Of course, they did the fertilization for us. So we're going to go through the other. Of course, this is the germination, because it's the start of the growth from the seed. Then there is the pollination. As you can see, there is a bee standing on the flower. And then, of course, the fertilization, which has been done for us. And then the seed dispersal. This is the seed that is gets blown by the wind and acts like a helicopter. Now, page 44. It's also, we're going to match in page 44. So in page 44, question 1, look at the diagram of a plant. As you can see, this is plant A, and it has all the parts. It has the roots, the stem, the leaves, and the flower. And they want us to connect all of those or match all of those to their function. The leaf uses the light, of course, to make food for the plant. Root takes the in water and minerals from the soil. Stem, it transports water around the plant. Of course, it takes it from the root and then transports it around the plant. And then the last one is the flower, which attract insects to pollinate the plant. Now let's do page 45. In page 45, we have a plant that is grows underwater. So the diagram shows a seaweed plant, as you can see. Okay, this plant lives on rocks on the seashore. Right? So what is the job of the holdfast? This is the holdfast, guys. Okay? So the holdfast, as you can see, it's anchoring the seaweed to the rock. So it anchors the plant in the rock. It just makes sure that it's fixed on the rock. So in the previous plan that we were talking about, this one, they want us to know the holdfast acts like what in this plant. Again, so the holdfast, this part, acts like which part in this plant. Okay, so I think it's very obvious that they look like roots, and of course they act or they do the same job. So this part represented or has a similar job as the root. Question B says the oak tree is made of different parts. The oak tree is made of different parts. Now, again, we're going to match. We have the flowers, leaves, and roots, and we want to match them to their functions. Flowers, they make seeds. Leaves, they make food, and roots are supposed to be taking water. Question C says a tree needs water and minerals for healthy growth. Name one other thing the tree needs for healthy growth. It needs sunlight. All right. Now let's do page 46 and 47. They are related to each other. So this is an experiment. One boy called, or a girl, I don't know, is called Yudoka. He sees or she sees a blue butterfly on a blue flower and a yellow butterfly on a yellow flower. So he or she, it's a he, so he made an observation. His observation that he noticed that the butterflies gets attracted to the flowers of their same color. So he made like a theory or a prediction. He thinks that butterflies must be most attracted to flowers that are the same color as themselves. So he is going to make a test. He plans an experiment to test his idea. He decides to put pieces of different colored card outside for half an hour. So he brought different cards, like as you can see, and with different colors, and he puts them outside for half an hour. He plans to record how many butterflies of different colors land on each one. He puts all the pieces of card in the same sunny place at the same time of the day. So he made sure everything is the same so that his test is fair. Now the question says, what else must he do to make sure this is a fair test? So I was thinking about this, and the only thing that I could figure out is that he can put several cards of the same color, of course, like 4 blue ones, 4 red ones, 4 yellow ones, in order to make sure that his test is fair. All right. Or to take the average of all of them, and this will help his results to be more accurate. If you have any other suggestion, you're more than welcome, of course, to tell me. Question B says, what is Udoka's prediction? His prediction that the butterflies will be attracted to the cards of the similar color. Now, page 47, Udoka made the test and he put the results in his table. So what are the color of the cards he used? He used blue, red, yellow, and brown cards. Then he noticed that the blue, red, green, and yellow. And now what are the number of butterflies got attracted to each one of them? He got in the blue card 6 blue butterflies got attracted to the blue card, 3 red butterflies got attracted to the blue card, 4 yellow butterflies got attracted to the blue card, and 1 brown butterfly got attracted to the blue card. What about the red? He found that 2 blue butterflies got attracted to the red one, while only 1 red butterfly got attracted to the red one. And the other, none of the butterflies got attracted to the green one. In the yellow one, he found 2 yellow butterflies got attracted to the yellow one. Now, which color attracted most yellow butterflies? As you can see that 4 of the yellow butterflies got attracted to the blue. So the answer is blue. Udoka thinks the results supported his prediction. Of course, it did not. I don't know according to what he thinks that it supported his prediction. What do you think the results suggest about how different colors attract different butterflies? The blue card attracted red, yellow, and brown butterflies, while the red ones attracted only maybe 2 blue and 1 red. You're just going to write what you see in the table. Okay, so you will say that the blue attracted blue, red, yellow, and brown butterflies, while the red attracted 2 blue and 1 red butterfly, and the green didn't attract anything, while the yellow attracted only 2 yellow butterflies. Question E says, what would you do next to find out more? Maybe I would repeat the experiment several times, or maybe I could put the cards outside for a longer time. To maybe the results would change and will make the prediction better. All right. Now, open page 48, please. On page 48, we have a flower, and the diagram shows the carpel, which is the female part of a flower. Question A says, what is the name of part A? So part A is the stigma, which is the sticky part which collects the pollen. And what does part B contains? It contains the eggs. Don't write the seed because this is before the fertilization process. Okay, so it contains the eggs, or if you want to write the ovules, it's also correct. Question C says seeds are formed when pollen and eggs join together. What is the name of this process? It's called fertilization. And please, you have to pay attention to the difference between fertilization and pollination. Okay, fertilization when the pollen enters the egg, but pollination is when the pollen transfers from the stamen to the carpel or the pistil. Now this is page 49. In page 49, it's also an identification key. So this is a very easy one. Does it have lots of separate petals like this one? It has different separate petals like this and this. No, as you can see, it's just like the petals are all fused together, making one large coned petal. Okay, so no, it doesn't have, if we're talking about this one, it does not have a lot of separate petals. So this will be the foxglove. Okay, now let's go to the other two. Do they have separate petals? Yes, both of them have separate petals. Now let's look at this one. Okay, it has separate petals. Does it have seeds in the center? No, it does not have seeds in the center. So this is a rose. While if yes, it has seeds in the center, then it will be a sunflower. Now let's go to page 50. We have only 2 pages remaining. So page 50, Sarah and Juan are investigating the distance seeds can be dispersed. Here is the equipment they use. So what did they use? They used the fan, and they used a seed, the kind that travels or that gets blown like a helicopter, and a ruler. Okay, so they use those 3 things. Sarah drops a seed near the fan. So she puts the seed near the fan, and then Juan will measure the distance the seed will move after opening the fan. Okay, and they will repeat this steps 5. They repeat the test for 5 more seeds. Okay, they want to make it a fair test, so they always use the same size seed. Perfect. What 2 other factors do they keep the same? Of course, it's not shown there. Let me write it for you. So what are they going to use? What are they going to keep the same? They could keep the strength of the fan blowing. This is number 1. And number 2 is that they have to use the same measuring tool. All right. So the first thing they should do is that they make the strength of the fan, the air coming out of the fan with the same strength every time. And number 2 is that they have to use the same measuring tool, the same ruler every time. Now, there are the results. There are the results. The results are that seed number 1, it was blown for 8 centimeters. Number 2, 7 centimeters. Number 3, 8.5. Number 4, 8. Number 5, 4.5. And number 6, 9. So you will notice that all of them, they pretty much have the same distance, or they're very close to each other, except number 5. Number 5 is the one that you will find that it a little bit odd. Okay. Now, sorry, I'm just going to remove this now. All right. Okay. So here, they want us to plot the results in a bar chart. This is an easy one. Okay. You just have to look at the table and start filling those bars with the same number. So for example, the first seed, seed number 1, it was blown for 8 centimeters. So you're going to fill the bar till you reach 8 centimeters. Okay. Number 2 it was blown for 7 centimeters. So you're going to fill all of those bars until you reach the 7 centimeters. Number 3 is that it was blown for 8.5 centimeters. So you're going to fill all of those bars until 8.5. So 8.5, you're going to split this bar into 2 halves. Okay, and you're going to fill it till the lower half only. Sorry, seed number 4, it was blown till 8, also like number 1. Number 5 was blown till 4.5 centimeters. So you're going to put it in between 4 and 5. You're going to fill the whole thing. And number 6, it was blown till it reached 9 centimeters. So you're going to fill the whole bar till the 9 centimeters point. C, Sarah thinks one of the results may be wrong, and this is why I told you to notice the odd result, because this is a very famous question, that there's an odd result and you have to pay attention to it, and they will ask you what is which one is the wrong result. Okay, so the wrong result will be seat 5. Question D says, what can they do to get more reliable results? Of course, they can repeat this experiment and take its average, or repeat it several times to make sure the results are correct. The last question is, these seeds have all been dispersed by the same method. Circle the correct method. So we noticed the fan, and we know that this type of seed get dispersed by wind. So of course it's wind dispersal. All right, this is it for this video, guys. I hope you watch it. Please make sure you fill all of the pages. And I will be adding 2 more videos. Of course, you have a video which is about the force model answers, and this video is the flowering plant model answers. And you'll have 2 extra videos, one about the force activities, and the other will be about the parts of the plants and the seeds. Okay, so please check all of the videos, and I will be seeing you very soon. Until then, stay safe and goodbye, guys.